We live in interesting times. Today's stories. The new Sudanese Prime Minister says to the United Nations, I quote, "Contribute with us in building a new world."
لتعيد بناء وترميم.
Thousands in Indonesia are still in shelters 1 year after the quake. Tsunami pounded the city of Palu, killing more than 4,000 people.
Siksanya anak-anak sakit.
Hong Kong protesters blocked a major road to mark the 5th anniversary of the Umbrella movement. Activists speak out against rising violence towards women in Turkey.
Bulutta ortaya çıkan öfke,
Int'l chief exits Capitol Hill as a senator expresses concern over whistleblowers.
Very troubling, and also
Cuba decries the U.S. Castro ban at the United Nations.
Ante la Asamblea General de las Naciones Unidas.
Syria blasts the U.S. and Turkey at the UN General Assembly.
المطالبة برفع مثل هذه الإجراءات.
Pompeo says the U.S. confirmed Syria's Assad used chemical weapons.
On May 19th, in an attack at Latakia province,
Plus, the AT Humanity donates to community organizations in Memphis.
And we can also use this to do things in the community, like buy smoke alarms.
This is Eagle News coming to you from Washington, D.C., bringing you stories from around the globe. I'm Ace Ramirez. The Sudanese Prime Minister Abdallah Hamdok said, and I quote, "People of Sudan are seeking to start a new phase after its revolution that overthrew Omar al-Bashir."
لقد جاءت ثورة الشعب السوداني العظيم لتعيد بناء وترميم قيم التعايش الإنساني والتمازج الاجتماعي في السودان، ولتغلق صفحة 3 عقود مقيتة من القمع والقهر والتمييز والاحتراب بين بناته وأبنائه، ولتكتب فصلاً مجيداً في كتاب التاريخ، حروفه الأرواح ومداده التضحيات والمهج. أقف أمامكم هنا اليوم ممثلاً لإرادة الشعب الأبي، فخوراً بها وبه، وهو يمضي بخطى واثقة وثابتة في طريقه نحو المستقبل، صديقاً وشريكاً متساوي الشراكة مع كل شعوب العالم المحبة للسلام، ويبتدر حقبة جديدة ومختلفة عن نهج الأعوام 30 الماضية في علاقة السودان مع دول العالم، يمد فيها السودان أيادي الصداقة إلى جيرانه في الإقليم وإلى كافة دول العالم، مسترشداً بقيم الإنسانية وبميراث الحكمة السودانية، وعازماً على تأكيد التزامه بمبادئ القانون الدولي ومواثيق حقوق الإنسان وجهود القضاء على التمييز والاستقلال والظلم وعدم المساواة. إننا نخاطب المجتمع الدولي وكافة الدول الأعضاء في الأمم المتحدة بذهن مفتوح وعقل متقد ومتوسب نحو المشاركة في صناعة عالم جديد يسوده الرخاء والسلام والمحبة بين شعوب العالم، ونرفضه بشعار ثورتنا المجيدة: حرية، سلام، وعدالة. شكراً سيد الرئيس.
Indonesia on Saturday marked 1 year since a devastating quake tsunami disaster pounded the city of Palu, killing more than 4,000 people. According to the Red Cross, some 4,300 people were listed as dead or missing, while nearly 60,000 people are still living in makeshift accommodation after their homes were destroyed. The force of the impact saw entire neighborhoods leveled by liquefaction, a process where the ground starts behaving like a liquid and swallows up the earth like quicksand. It also destroyed fishing boats, shops, and irrigation systems, robbing locals of their income. Rebuilding has been slow, and many of the people still living in temporary shelters wonder if they'll ever have a home again.
Banyak. Istilahnya siksanya anak-anak sakit, kadang juga ya pokoknya
panas.
Iya, panas.
Terus
Hujan, kita tidur di atas air. Saya kan ini untuk sementara kan bapaknya kan masih kerja, jadi belum bisa beli kasur. Jadi memang tidur betul-betul di atas batu. Jadi kalau air, kita betul-betul tidur di atas air.
Kalau hujan?
Iya, bersama anak-anak saya. Harapan saya, iya tuntas rumah yang layak buat saya dan anak-anak saya.
4 orang anak.
Iya, karena memang di tenda ini memang siksanya, apalagi panas. Cuma
panas,
iya anak-anak, apalagi saya punya anak bayi kan, kasihan. Ya panas, tidurnya pokoknya tidak nyenyak, apalagi kalau malam.
Nani, another mother of 4 kids, said her home was destroyed in the disaster.
Waktu sebelum bencana saya ada di pantai barat. Sesudah saya di pantai barat, habis gempa itu, 1 minggu habis gempa, di telepon mama saya disuruh pulang ke Palu. Agak panas.
Panas. Jadi kalau hujan basah juga, Bu?
Tidak juga kalau masuk dalam tidak, cuman biasa kan ini air.
Iya, terkenal.
Langsung tahan ke bawah sana.
Hundreds of damaged schools across the region have not been repaired. Earlier, the World Bank offered the country up to $1 billion in loans to get the city back on its feet. Indonesia is one of the most disaster-prone nations on Earth due to its position straddling the so-called Pacific Ring of Fire, where tectonic plates collide. The Southeast Asian archipelago is also dotted with more than 100 volcanoes, including one that erupted between Java and Sumatra in late 2018 and unleashed a tsunami that killed more than 400 people. On Boxing Day 2004, a 9.1 magnitude earthquake struck off the coast of Sumatra and triggered a tsunami that killed 220,000 across the Indian Ocean region, including around 170,000 in Indonesia. Tens of thousands of Hong Kongers gathered Saturday night to mark the 5th anniversary of the Umbrella Movement, the failed pro-democracy campaign that laid the groundwork for the massive protests currently engulfing the finance hub. Huge crowds chanting slogans and singing protest songs crammed into a park outside the city's parliament, the same site that was the epicenter of the 2014 protests. Hundreds later spilled out onto a main road outside the city's government offices. The Umbrella Movement exploded when huge crowds came out after police fired tear gas at a student-led rally which had taken over the same highway and was named after the ubiquitous tool people used to defend themselves from police. Both 2014's protests and the current demonstrations were fueled by fears that Beijing is eroding freedoms in the semi-autonomous Chinese city and frustrations over the lack of direct elections. But the character of the protests has noticeably hardened in the intervening years. Compared to the current strife, where street battles have erupted for 16 consecutive weeks, 2014's protests were softer, with students completing classwork in the camps, recycling their waste, and police largely avoiding direct conflict during the 79-day occupation of 3 key intersections. This summer's pro-democracy protests have had a distinctly more existential feel, with hardcore activists throwing Molotovs and bricks, police using tear gas, rubber bullets, and water cannon, and Beijing issuing increasingly shrill warnings. This summer's protests were ignited by a now-scrapped plan to allow extraditions to the authoritarian mainland. But they have snowballed into a wider movement calling for democratic rights and police accountability after Beijing and the city's leader Carrie Lam took a hard line. Activists are planning to ramp up their protests in the coming days. Beijing is preparing a huge military parade on Tuesday to mark 70 years since the founding of the People's Republic of China, reveling in its transformation into a global superpower. But democracy protesters are determined to take the shine off the festivities. Dozens of women protested in Istanbul on Saturday to denounce rising violence against women and the government's failure to stop brutal attacks across the country. They gathered in the Kadikoy neighborhood on the Asian side of Istanbul, recounting harrowing stories of women recently murdered across the country, including Emin Bulut, whose killing by her ex-husband in August sparked outrage. Bulut's murder in front of her daughter sent shockwaves across Turkey after a video of the attack was published online. The 38-year-old was stabbed to death in a cafe on August 18 by her former husband in the central Anatolian city of Kırıkkale. Bulut, who had divorced him 4 years ago, died in the hospital. Her name was a worldwide trending topic on Twitter, and "I don't want to die" was widely quoted on social media.
Çıkartacağız. Aslında Emine Bulut'ta ortaya çıkan öfke, infial, aslında tüm kadınlar Emine Bulut'un söylediği, o en son söylediği söz hepimizin kulaklarında. Ölmek istemiyorum.
A total of 294 women were murdered in the only first 8 months of 2019, 40 of them in August alone, while 440 women were killed last year. This is according to the women's rights group We Will Stop Femicide, which has been tracking gender-related deaths. Turkey has ratified the Council of Europe's 2011 Istanbul Convention on Preventing Domestic Violence, but activists say more needs to be done to put the laws into practice.
Politika yapıcılar kendiliklerinden bir şey yapmazlar. Toplumda bir etki yaratıp bir baskı gücü oluşturabildiğimiz takdirde bir takım adımlar atılmasını sağlayabiliriz.
Kesinlikle kadınlar birlik olduğu zaman mutlaka ses getiriyor, her zaman getiriyor. Bugüne kadarki kazanımlarımızı nasıl koruduysak bundan sonra da koruduğumuz kazanımları tekrar korumaya devam edip daha da yükseltmeye devam edeceğiz. Ta ki bir tek kadın öldürülmeyince.
Trans olması gerekçe gösterilerek katili Ramazan Soybozkurt'a...
Up next, Int'l chief exits Capitol Hill as a senator expresses concern over whistleblowers. Cuba decries the U.S. Castro ban at the United Nations. Syria blasts the U.S. and Turkey at the UN General Assembly. Pompeo says the U.S. confirmed Syria's Assad used chemical weapons in May. Eagle News will be right back. Welcome back. This is Eagle News coming to you from Washington, D.C. I'm Ace Ramirez. Acting Director of National Intelligence Joseph Maguire left a closed-door meeting with the Senate Intelligence Committee on Capitol Hill as a senior member of the committee told reporters of his concerns about whistleblower protections.
I regard this as very troubling and also very different than the host of issues that the Congress has looked at with regard to the President over the last few months. I remain very concerned about whistleblower protections generally. I'm not going to get into matters that are classified, but I'm the co-chair of the Whistleblower Caucus with Senator Grassley, and I can tell you that what has happened over the last few weeks has sent reverberations through the whistleblower community. It is clear on the basis of even what was unclassified is that this is an individual with an extraordinary amount of credible information.
How'd it go today, sir?
A whistleblower's report alleging a White House cover-up of a phone call between the U.S. president and his Ukrainian counterpart has prompted an impeachment inquiry. Meanwhile, during a speech at the General Assembly of the United Nations, Cuban Minister of Foreign Affairs Bruno Rodriguez slammed the United States for barring former President Raul Castro and his family from entering the country. Washington announced travel sanctions on Thursday that made Castro, brother of late revolutionary leader Fidel Castro, and his relatives ineligible for travel to America.
Denuncio ante la Asamblea General de las Naciones Unidas que el gobierno de Estados Unidos ha iniciado en los últimos meses la aplicación de medidas criminales no convencionales para impedir el abastecimiento de combustible a nuestro país desde diversos mercados. En el último año, el gobierno estadounidense ha incrementado cualitativamente sus medidas de hostilidad y bloqueo contra Cuba. Ha impuesto escollos adicionales al comercio exterior e incrementado la persecución de nuestras relaciones bancario-financieras con el resto del mundo. El Departamento de Estado anunció que el primer secretario del Partido Comunista de Cuba, general de ejército Raúl Castro Ruz, no podrá recibir visa de entrada a este país. Se trata de una acción sin efecto práctico, dirigida a ultrajar la dignidad de Cuba y los sentimientos de nuestro pueblo.
Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said the order had been passed due to 88-year-old Raul Castro's support for Venezuela's leftist leader Nicolas Maduro, who presides over a crumbling economy. He accused Castro of violations of human rights in his continued role as first secretary of Cuba's ruling Communist Party. President Donald Trump has vowed to rid Latin America of socialism, a stance that resonates with many Cuban and Venezuelan exiles in the politically crucial state of Florida. Rodriguez accused the U.S. leader of pandering to the, I quote, Cuban-American extreme right ahead of next year's presidential elections, during a speech that lasted double his allotted time of 15 minutes. Fidel Castro holds the record for the longest speech in front of the General Assembly, when he talked for over 4.5 hours in 1960. Trump's moves mark a sharp contrast to that of former President Barack Obama, who met Raul Castro in a historic 2016 trip to Cuba as he sought to end decades of hostility.
Cuba,
Syria's Deputy Prime Minister Walid al-Muallem denounced the presence of U.S. and Turkish forces in Syria, calling them, and I quote, arrogant for holding discussions over a safe zone in the country. Turkey and the United States last month agreed to the so-called, and I quote, security mechanism to create a buffer between the Turkish border and Syrian areas controlled by the Kurdish People's Protection Units, or YPG. Al-Muallem also announced Syria's solidarity with China and Russia, and I quote, in the face of the unjust American policies.
السيد الرئيس، ما زالت الولايات المتحدة وتركيا تواصلان وجودهما العسكري غير الشرعي في شمال سوريا، وقد وصل الصلف بهما إلى حد عقد مباحثات واتفاقيات بشأن إنشاء ما يسمى بالمنطقة الآمنة داخل الأراضي السورية، وكأن هذه المنطقة ستقام على الأراضي الأمريكية أو التركية. إن كل ذلك مخالف للقانون الدولي وميثاق الأمم المتحدة، وأي اتفاقيات تتعلق بالوضع في أي منطقة سورية دون موافقة الحكومة السورية هي اتفاقيات مدانة ومرفوضة شكلا ومضمونا. هنا فإننا نجدد المطالبة برفع مثل هذه الإجراءات غير الشرعية المفروضة على الشعب السوري وعلى كل الشعوب المستقلة الأخرى، وفي مقدمتها شعوب إيران وفنزويلا وكوريا الديمقراطية وكوبا وبيلاروس، كما نقف إلى جانب الصين وروسيا في وجه السياسات الأمريكية الجائرة تجاههما. كما أن قرارات الإدارة الأمريكية بشأن السيادة على الجولان يمكن أن تغير حقائق التاريخ والجغرافيا وأحكام القانون الدولي بأن الجولان كان وما زال وسيبقى أرضاً سورية.
Vowing a response, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said Thursday the United States has confirmed that Syrian President Bashar al-Assad's forces used chemical weapons in May. Pompeo said the Assad regime used chlorine on May 19 as part of its deadly offensive in the last rebel stronghold of Idlib.
Today I'm announcing that the United States has concluded that the Assad regime used chlorine as a chemical weapon on May 19th in an attack at Latakia province, Syria. This attack was part of the Assad regime's ongoing violent campaign in Idlib, which has killed more than 1,000 innocent Syrians and displaced hundreds of thousands more.
Pompeo told reporters, and I quote, "The United States will not allow these attacks to go unchallenged, nor will we tolerate those who choose to conceal these atrocities." He said, and I quote, "The United States will continue to pressure the insidious Assad regime to end the violence directed at Syrian civilians and participate in the UN-led political process." The U.S. had earlier said that it suspected the chemical weapons attack, but had held off on making a clear determination. International investigators say that the Russian-backed Assad has repeatedly used chemical weapons against civilian targets in its brutal quest to end the civil war. Former President Barack Obama had called chemical weapons use a red line, but ultimately declined military retaliation. Drawing a contrast, President Donald Trump ordered strikes with 59 cruise missiles in response to a sarin gas attack in April 2017. But Thursday's finding shows that the Assad regime was not deterred, and Pompeo declined to specify what further responses were planned. Coming up, the Aid to Humanity donates to community organizations in Memphis, Tennessee. Stay with us. Eagle News, we'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching Eagle News. I'm Ace Ramirez. Still part of its recent U.S. tour, the Aid to Humanity Outreach Project of the Iglesia ni Cristo, or Church of Christ, donated thousands of dollars to local organizations in Memphis, Tennessee. Eagle News correspondent Elmarie Gonzalez with the details.
In history, Tennessee is nicknamed as the volunteer state, and here in Memphis, Tennessee, Iglesia ni Cristo members traveled hundreds of miles to volunteer in the Aid to Humanity project this year. While Memphis, Tennessee may be famous for its history and music, it also has one of the highest poverty rates according to the 2018 Census Bureau's American Community Survey. Today, Memphis, Tennessee was the fourth stop in the Aid to Humanity U.S. tour held by the Felix Y. Manalo, or FYM Foundation, the charitable arm of the Iglesia ni Cristo. The event took place at the Iglesia ni Cristo Memphis congregation at 878 Mississippi Boulevard, where volunteers prepared and donated 2,000 free care packages of food and household goods to families in the community. The FYM Foundation also recognized 5 service organizations, which included the Porter Leith Orphanage, the Memphis Police Department, the Memphis Firefighters Association Foundation, Booker T. Washington High School, and the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Memphis, gifting each with a $5,000 donation to support the positive social impact of their work.
This is absolutely wonderful. On behalf of the Crop Station and Memphis Police Department, I thank the Aid to Humanity and the church here and Brother Manolo for this donation. A big part of what we do as police officers is protect and serve, and that means service to others. We're out in our communities building rapport, helping those that need help, and this donation will go a long way in helping children or elderly people. This is a foundation we set up to help do things for our firefighters that are outside of our budget opportunities. And we use this to do things in the community, like buy smoke alarms, so that people will be safer in their homes. So we really appreciate this, and I assure you it will go to good use.
We're with Porter Leith. We're a nonprofit organization in Memphis that was founded in 1850 as an orphanage, a place where children could live and we would take care of them. And now we help children in impoverished families get their very first education, and we make sure that moms and dads have healthy babies through 6 of our programs at Porter Leith.
We can use every donation possible to go directly into programming of our 6 programs and 2 initiatives. So every little bit really helps all of the children and families in Shelby County.
Reporting from Memphis, Tennessee, I am Elmer Gonzalez, your Eagle News correspondent, and I am 1 with 25.
Thank you, Elmarie. That is today's Eagle News. Join us again tomorrow for stories that matter to you. Visit our websites at eaglenews.net and eaglenewslive.com. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/eaglenews and on facebook.com/eaglenews. Thank you for watching. I'm Mace Ramirez. I'm 1 with 25.